Welcome to a very cold Tunbridge Wells park run number 336. Just giving Liam some advice, like run even faster than you are. Thanks to my wife for the lovely footage. My mobile phone, there's her friends waving to her. So today was a Pacers day. So these guys gave up their race to pace everybody else. This was a really tricky bit of synchronizing here. It was very difficult to get the camera done, but what a great sight, eh? All the colour flashing out. It's funny, the mobile phone looks a lot brighter on the right than the GoPro does. I'm not sure why that is. So it's now back to the regular GoPro footage, but the other footage was done on the camera and it was done vertically. I forgot to tell my wife to actually just do it landscape because it would match the format of the GoPro. Don't forget to subscribe and like. That would be really helpful. And she zoomed as well, which means that if I try to zoom out, the quality gets really bad. So lessons learned. So always interesting running along with everybody here, isn't it? Feels a bit like a Formula 1 Grand Prix race. Look at it. In-car action at about 9 miles an hour. So Dave there's pacing 21, so I thought I'd try and hang on to him. He eventually ended up doing I think a 20:45. I couldn't make out why. He's usually a dead-on pacer, but his instinct is to go fast, and I think he left all the 21ers behind him. So it's usually about now you think, actually, I've set out a little bit quick, and I'm not entirely sure that my legs will last, because that first downhill is very deceptive, as I said in previous park run clips. I actually changed the timer at the top there, which I thought was quite a nice little addition. I'm gradually getting a bit better at doing these videos, so I've added a timer there which actually counted down from the start of the video. I could have it sort of burst to life right at the start, but start of the actual race, but it doesn't just sit there on naught. I haven't quite figured out how to get it to stay on naught until you want it to go, and then go at that particular point. But if somebody knows how to do that, put it in the comments below and tell me. Otherwise I will eventually figure it out. I had to change it to green. It was in white, but as soon as we got into the sort of grey sky there, I had to change it to green so you could actually see it, which means it's now going to be a bit camouflaged if it goes behind the green. I think you can see it quite well. And yeah, there's some faster guys coming through. I think that's in the red and blue is Alex Blacknell. He always looks to me like he's barely running along, and he's actually really going fast. And that lady behind him in the sort of the two colour blue, she's actually going at a really quick pace as well. She was one of the first finishers, so obviously you don't want to be anywhere near those guys. And this is where I nearly fall in. I slipped there and whacked my arm across whoever it was, that guy in the red. I nearly twisted my ankle as well. It just slid down the little bank there into the mud, and I was lucky to get my foot across the other side. So and obviously it throws you out of your stride as well. So one thing I've noticed, that if you are running pretty close to what you're capable of, then any little thing that throws you out of your pace, where you have to put a bit more effort in, sudden change of direction or something, where somebody's in the way, or you've seen a pothole along here, or one of these ruts, then it's usually quite a bit more effort. So you can see Dave in the yellow vest is getting away from me here. I just couldn't keep up with him. I thought it did look a bit fast. I was looking at my watch. I think a 21. Dead is could be a 4:07. I'm not really sure. 4:05. I'll have to work it out. But the fact that people are coming past tells me something is not going quite right with my pacing. So I'm clearly slowing down. I'm probably looking at my watch, if I remember, and it was telling me I was going like a 3:45 minute kilometre, and I thought, well, I don't need that. These guys have set off too quick, and then it suddenly sabotages me and goes back to like a 5 minute kilometre. I'm thinking, what's it doing? So I don't know if it's just the trees, the terrain. It's satellites are all behind those hedges there. And there was a guy following me who was shouting, dressed up in sort of a blue outfit with a silver wig, and I kind of wasn't quite sure what was going on there, but he seemed to be going quite fast, but he was yelling, and I just couldn't make out what it was. So it turns out later that he was actually trying to encourage those people at the front, which, by the way he was yelling, they probably could have heard him, but I thought they're not going to hear him over there, but maybe they did. I don't know. Surely they're not there. Surely they're way gone. So, but anyway, and he kept talking behind me, and I kept thinking, mate, I can't talk to you. I'm trying to run. And then I realised he's actually talking into a GoPro for some commentary, and I finally twigged what it was. I just thought it was someone trying to be super friendly. This is where I get, just further along here, as we get down the end, I get splattered by wet on the leaves, and the camera, I didn't realise, look, I think it's about here. No, here. Bang! And there's wet all over the camera. Great. Now it looks like I've got loads of places in there that the leaves are really offended by not being pixelated, so I've had to pixelate them out later. So now I'm trying to get up a bit of speed on this downhill, or just let my legs go.
Free downhill.
And that guy sort of, I'm not sure if he said something, but I suppose he was wondering why I was coming past, but I was put a bit of a spurt on downhill. And there's the side of the man with the GoPro. I've got a little bit ditched here actually, see that? It's the mud. It turns out it's Harry Morgan who does Jog On. So with a GoPro and a skirt and a wig, and I revelled in the moment. Yes, maybe I had set out a little quick, but I was using it for pace. I'm thinking, right, okay, with all the wind resistance from that outfit, he's got to slow down a little bit. So I just thought, well, if I stick somewhere near him, I can't be doing too badly. So it's quite a nice little flat area along here, so you can sort of get your breath back, or get some energy back in your legs. I don't recall ever getting my breath back on the whole race, but we'll see. It's now coming up to, like, I think it's probably the part I always dread, because it's once you go down this downhill piece here, you've then got the really steep hills. It's the most tiring part of the race, and you just know you're going to spend the rest of the race, or rest of the run, feeling quite uncomfortable. So again, I'm using it, just letting my legs go. I'm not really pushing anything. He said, well done. And I said, yeah, free downhill. It's my usual response down here. It's about all the words I can spit out. Take this corner nice and fast. late entry and a wide exit. Now it's all cranking uphill, and then just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, this bit then cranks up even more. I think there's a 5-meter rise there that you run up in the space of about 25-30 meters. It's nearly a 20% hill. You just can't really let it go, or let yourself slow down along here. You've just got to keep that pace going, but without pushing really. You've just got to keep your legs turning over, shorter steps, but it's really, really hard. And you're probably doing 250 meters, I would say, from that hill started way back. You're supposed to be quite glad of this turn. I think some footage is coming up now. My wife is standing there and she took this footage coming up. First of all, going around the corner, going around the bend, I should say. So give you an idea of me just letting my legs go. I'm really not pushing at all, and look at that, I'm making up a few places there. And then I'll just sort of settle down, and you should see Mark in the white. Give you an idea of what it's like at the distance. So we're going along at a fair old clip, even though I've got a very slow cadence, so it doesn't look like I'm going very fast at all. It's about 156, 158 max. And I've managed to work on that the last month. Just trying to get some just slightly shorter strides. I've got a 1.4 meter stride, which is completely unnecessary, but it's just an old habit from all the running that I used to do. You know, I just didn't need to go any faster, so I never shortened my stride. And of course now I'm doing this park run quite regularly. I'm picking up little injuries because of it. So over the bridge, which can be a bit of a pinch point. And these are the people coming through on their first lap, at the start of their first lap, so you almost have a contraflow system there. It's really starting to hurt now because you've just come up those hills and then you've just had a little bit of a flat to sort of try and get some life back in your lungs, and you've just got to keep pushing through. As anybody knows who's been up here. So I think it's quite nice to see the timer there. It's quite fun at the end when we see everybody coming in. I've managed to sync everything up so you do see their exact times, and that took an absolute age. So you can see on those other clips where we've got the GoPro plus the mobile phone footage in portrait, where the GoPro is in landscape. That just took a huge amount of time. It was days trying to get that all lined up, you know, and then because any movement up and down on the mobile phone, you know, you're having to trim the top of the clip or the bottom of the clip, and then of course the runners might be out of position if the camera's being waved around. You know, anyone who does a bit of filming knows you just try and keep that camera absolutely dead still and keep the subject in the middle the whole time. Otherwise, you know, you end up just having to crop things and expand things. And so there goes, as I found later, the Queen. She didn't even wave as she went past. Not bad for, what, 97 or 96? I'm not going to make the same mistake on this moat. He didn't want to get his feet wet. I remember actually when I had my mud claws, I remember running straight through that. And never did it again. You're much better off just to sort of try and jump it. So this part is coming up to what would normally be the 1 kilometre mark, and I think the 3 kilometre mark was just before we got onto the grass back there. But it's this, as we get to the top of this corner here, it then starts becoming a very, very gentle slope, like a 1 or 2% downgrade. So, I'm sure downgrade's the right word. Downhill. There's all the stuff left over, or going to be for some party they're having in the park, which churned all this field up before and made this a very rutted sort of area. So they've sent us around the periphery now, which actually has increased the length of the track. I think it's only by some 10 or 15 meters, but it's showing up on my watches 4.99, which is a meter short of what we want, or 10 meters short, or whatever it is. But it actually does look very flat here, doesn't it? But there's massive ruts in there. Very easy to twist an ankle. And they're sending us round. That's a real bog there on the right hand side. You can see it just gets so waterlogged. There's obviously several sort of runs of water that come down off the higher ground, and on a slope. I don't know if you live on a slope, but on a slope it's nearly always wet unless you get a really, really long period of dry. It's always wet because everything is draining through it. Whereas if you've got a level garden, or you're on a level piece of ground, as long as it's not too low lying, the water tends to drop down just a few inches below the grass, and you perceive it as being dry. But when it's on a slope, it's generally wet all the time, and especially around Tunbridge Wells, it seems to be squelchy underfoot. So making good time here. I remember this feeling particularly tough this run. And I didn't get to my PB round here. I was about 11 seconds off. So we've got some other footage now. So this would be Liam White coming up. It's nice to see them finish. And look where we are on the left hand side here. Look, we've still got another well over a kilometre to go, and he's finished. Well, it's about a kilometre to go, and he's finished. Look at that. So he's about 20% quicker than us. And that guy in the blue is getting away from me, so I then start to really push. Once I get around this bend, I then start to push to try and make up some ground. Watch me just swerve here to go up the old course. It's just in my mind already. So Liam finished in I think it was 16:54. I think 16 minutes 54 from memory. So now this is Louise Small, who's quite a well-known, I'd never heard of her, quite a well-known runner, but look at that belting up there.
Well run!
Well done!
Well done!
Into the funnel!
Fantastic, well done.
Well done!
Brilliant, well done.
Yeah, I think that about summed it up, because it is really tough to sprint up that hill. It's tough enough sprinting on a flat, let alone a 12% slope. Yeah, so I've made up a bit of ground here, gradually catching up, but it was tiring. So some other people finishing. So again, my wife had zoomed in here, and that just made it very difficult to crop, as I've spoken about before. So still some good times coming through here. All good, very fast runners these. Doing some very good times. Look how tired they are. I hate to run into the edge of one of those benches. I can imagine at night walking through there, just whacking your shin on one of those. That's got to hurt. That's got to hurt. So look at that. 19 minutes at this point. At least another couple of minutes. Thank you, Marshall. Just try and keep it going. Bit of downhill. So this is Joe Watts
Well done, Joe.
gaining a place.
Well done, Joe.
What did he finish in?
Well done.
Well done, Joe.
Was it 1933? Yeah, around there. 19 minutes 33.
This way.
It's great to see her. I don't know what that was, whether she grabbed her ticket, you know, her parkrun ticket, but it just seemed a bit strange there. Someone could have just given it to her afterwards, but I don't know. Bit of fun, wasn't it? But see her belting over the line there. Very good little runner. So it's all just full on concentration and hanging on in there now. Oh, these hills. Again, I think Sky's Alex Blacknell. Look, it just looks like he's hardly going at all, and yet he's finished in 20 minutes 20. Was it 25, 26? It's a really good time. Just one of the most easy looking runs. It just looks like he's hardly putting any effort in. He's really getting a good pace. And there's Dave Barr clearly striking a younger runner. I think he was just ushering him. Don't know what's up with this guy. Ushering the other guy, the young lad, over the line so he could win ahead. So here comes Harry Morgan with me pumping up that hill as well. This kid loves to run between us. That is, I just can't tell you how dead my legs were at that point. It was so painful. A little bit of a wobble there. See how tired I was. I got across in 21:13, and I think Harry Morgan was 20:07. I'm still wobbling there, as you can see. So tired I was. She pixelated out all of the criminals that are amongst all these people standing there.
I think someone took it for him.
I asked him why why the token didn't have a number 1 on it. I had to do my Google Earth bit. Bend over for a few seconds just to so I could stand up.
Well done, Josh.
Yeah, Josh, friend of mine.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a weird course as well. The second lap I was thinking, oh no, these slopes again. Well done.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I didn't like the slopes either. They are the thing that keep people away from this course, I can tell you, because they are tough. So that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed that. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.